welcome everyone to the joint meeting of the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commissions. I'm going to ask our clerk, Suki, to go ahead and tell our audience how they can participate in the meeting with translation services.
Thank you, Chair Rasmussen. So, members of the public, live interpretation of this entire meeting will be provided in Spanish. To access live interpretation services in Zoom, please click the interpretation globe icon in your Zoom meeting webinar controls and then select the Spanish language. I will have my colleague Teresa provide these instructions in Spanish, and then I'll start the channel.
Buenas tardes. Esta reunión será interpretada al español en esta reunión por completo. Y si quiere acceder a los servicios en español, por favor hágale clic en el globo que está situado en la parte inferior de la pantalla. Gracias.
Thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. So now we'll do roll call to establish a quorum, please.
Actually, let's should we swear the new commissioner?
Oh,
in?
okay, sure. Okay. All right. I do not see Judge Edizadi on yet. I do not see her. Court may be running late today, so we may have to.
Then we'll probably, yeah.
Okay.
To the chair,
Yes.
to give Judge Edizadi a little bit more time. All these speakers work awesome. Thank you. The microphones. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. As we all know, about a week and a half ago, there was a fatal tragedy in Marin County with the 4 teenage girls that passed away in that car accident. So I was wondering if we can have a moment of silence for the 4 girls.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Blanco. Okay. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Chair. I'll take the roll call. Commissioner Corinne Huber-Levy. Thank you. Commissioner Nevra.
Here.
Thank you, Commissioner Blanco.
Here.
Thank you, Commissioner Bocanegra. Thank you, Commissioner Clemmer. Is absent. Commissioner Montani. Thank you. Commissioner Nori, Amaya Nori, is absent. Commissioner Shakil Ali.
Here.
Thank you. And for the record, Commissioner Ali is participating online, and it was mentioned on the agenda, so that meets the Brown Act. And since we have one member online, we'll be taking the any additional motions verbally. Do that afterwards. Commissioner Tiffany Uhila-Hataw is absent. Commissioner Ken Williams is absent, and then Chair Rasmussen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to also point out at this time that I did receive notice of resignation from Commissioner Uhila Hautau. So she wanted me to let everyone know that she's been grateful for the work here, but with the passing of her mom, she has a lot of responsibilities with her organization, and so she'll be moving on to do that. Okay, could I get a motion to set the agenda for today's meeting? Okay, seconded by Commissioner or Vice Chair Huber-Levy.
And I'll take the roll call. Commissioner Huber-Levy. Commissioner Ginevra.
Here.
Commissioner Blanco.
Here.
Commissioner Bocanegra. Commissioner Montani. Commissioner Ali.
Yes.
Thank you. And then Chair Rasmussen.
Here.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you so much. So I do not see the judge as of yet. We're actively scanning the online room. So can we move to item F to vote on the candidacy of Astris Ling? Yes. Who's here in the room with us? Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you so much, Astris, for being here. So the membership committee is pleased to recommend Astris Ling for appointment to the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission. Asterisk brings a powerful combination of lived experience, youth-centered advocacy, and a demonstrated commitment to equity and community engagement that aligns strongly with the Commission's mission. As an active member of the Redwood City Teen Advisory Board, Asterisk has led and participated in initiatives that reflect a deep commitment to youth empowerment. Notably, Asterisk played a key role in organizing a youth police department town hall in collaboration with the Redwood City Police Advisory Committee. This event created space for youth to voice their experiences and concerns around law enforcement and initiatives that exemplify the kind of proactive, community-based engagement our commission values. Through projects like the Racial Equity Mural and the Teen Talks Forums, Asterisk has consistently advocated for youth and input in civic spaces. His leadership reflects both a sensitivity to the struggle young people face, such as substance abuse and system involvement, and a belief in the importance of giving youth the tools and platforms to shape their communities. Asterisk's experience and support will propel our commission's efforts to reach and serve a broader and more inclusive population of youth and families. He also brings strong personal motivation to expand outreach to underserved communities and to improve access to treatment and educational opportunities for youth at risk. Asterisk has expressed a deep understanding of the responsibility we share in advocating for and amplifying youth voices. His interest in projects such as substance abuse treatment access and outreach initiatives align directly with our current goals and demonstrates readiness to contribute meaningfully. We believe that appointing Asterisk would enhance the Commission's ability to remain responsive, youth-informed, and connected to the lives of the young people that we serve. We respectfully submit this recommendation for Asterisk to be approved as Youth Commissioner on the JJDPC.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Ali, can you just confirm you can hear us, right, from the room?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. All right, so that's good. 1 second. Ms. Tati, you have your hand raised? You have a question?
Yes, sorry. I checked in with my colleague as well, and it sounds really quiet for us.
We're able to hear in the room, and then we also confirmed with Mr. Ali. And Ms. Nadia Han, can you hear us as well? Okay. Yeah, I think it might be just your audio or your computer. Probably need to check that. Sorry about that.
It is.
We'll try to speak into the microphones as well. These are new microphones, so we're all sort of getting used to working with them. Okay, so then,
Do I need to make a motion?
yes,
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve Asterisk Ling as a Youth Commissioner with the JJDPC.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Let me just ask for public comment on this item. If there's any public comment from this room or online, you could raise your hand. Thank you. No public comment. And Madam Chair, we do have a Commissioner Clemmer online, but will not be able to vote. He can attend as a member of the public, no address.
Yes, thank you. So Commissioner Clemmer, we did not receive notification that you wouldn't be here in person, so unfortunately, while I appreciate you being online, you won't be able to participate fully as a commissioner, but thank you so much for showing up and being here, because we have a very important presentation tonight that I'm looking forward.
Yeah, of course. There was some transportation issues that I was not aware were going to be coming up today that made it so I wasn't able to join in person. So it was very last minute that I had to join on Zoom, but I certainly apologize for not being able to give you guys notice.
Thank you so much.
Take a roll call vote. Commissioner Huber Levy,
Yes.
Commissioner Ginevra,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco,
Aye.
Commissioner Bocanegra. Thank you, Commissioner Mangtani, Commissioner Ali.
Yes.
Thank you, and then Chair Rasmussen.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
we're very much looking forward to working with you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I still do not see Judge Edizadi, so we'll move on to the approval of the meeting minutes for March 25th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve those meeting minutes? All right, Commissioner Bocanegra?
I'll second.
To
Seconded
the
by Vice
chair,
Yes,
we need to make an amendment.
okay. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, we can have discussion. Well, not discussion. We need to, there's an amendment I need to make
Okay,
to it before we vote.
okay,
There was conversation or comments I made regarding the update of ethnic studies. And that was left out of the minutes.
okay.
Mhm.
And what was that? Maybe offline, we can go over what part of the meeting and when, and so to know to insert that, but we'll go ahead and so we'll be approving the minutes with
With the amendment.
edits, yes,
Yeah.
with the amendments that include the comments that were made about ethnic studies. I know that's a really important topic. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Any comments from the public, from the room or online? Okay, no hands are raised. We have a motion on the floor, so I'll take the roll call with those with motion to approve the minutes with those amendments. Commissioner Huber Levy. Thank you, Commissioner Ginevra.
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Bocanegra. Commissioner Mangtani. Commissioner Ali.
Yes.
Thank you, and then Chair Rasmussen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Okay, now moving on to item 2 on the agenda, which is a public comment for any items that are not on the agenda. We have a beautiful podium with a microphone, so anyone who'd like to come up and speak, you're more than welcome.
Thank you, and through the chair, these are items that are not on the agenda. So you're welcome to come up and mention your name. And also on Zoom, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand on Zoom. We don't have any speakers.
Okay, thank you so much. So we'll do our briefly we'll do our system updates, and Ron Reyes from the Private Defender Program is not with us this evening, but he did send Vice Chair Huber Levy a report that she will share with us. I'm not sure if Monier Wade is going to be giving the report out. Yeah, sure, whatever you want.
Hi, so on behalf of Ron, I have the report for the Private Defender Office reporting on the period between March 26th until April 28th. There were a total of 40 case assignments, and out of those 40 cases, 11 cases in which the youth were detained. 9 out of the 11 detentions contained 707B felony charges. 20 cases were out of custody arraignments, and 3 of those cases contained allegations of 707B felony offenses. For record sealings, the office handled 13 petitions, and there were calls to the Miranda hotline. Those were 14 calls from arresting law enforcement agencies. 13 consultations were conducted with attorneys with detained youth, and all 13 youth elected not to give a statement to the arresting officers. 1 call was from the police in which the youth was cited and released, and the youth was no longer available by the time the officer called the hotline. In terms of the age breakdown, 11 of those calls involved youth between the ages of 16 and 17, and 3 calls were youth 15 years old and younger. And that is the report for this evening.
Through the chair, I asked that we attach that report to our minutes. Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They always, the data always goes into that data.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next up is Nadia Hahn. Do you have a report out for us this month?
Hi, I think I heard, I'm sorry, the audio is going out in and out a little bit,
Okay.
but I have a, yes, I was asked to provide the number of filings for this last month. So I ran March 25th, 2025 through today, April 29, 2025. There were 23 felony filings, 23 misdemeanor filings for a total of 46, and 19 cases that were rejected.
And how many of those originated from kids who are in the hall?
I can't, that's not a filter function. I just have the number of felonies, the number of misdemeanors.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
then some of those felonies may also include misdemeanors, but it gets reported as a felony filing if there's a felony in it. And then likewise, those misdemeanor filings may have some infractions in them, but it gets reported as a misdemeanor if there's a misdemeanor in it.
Thank you so much for that information. I appreciate it. Anybody have any questions from the audience? Okay. Next up is probation. I do not see Miss Bustos, but I did see Manye Wade in the room. We have not received, oh, and John Keene, Chief Keene is also here in the room. So I'm not sure if Mr. Wade wants to give the report for probation. Please feel free. I promoted you to be a panelist.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
My apologies. I'm not used to the Zoom format, so there we go. So thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Manye Wade. I am the Deputy Chief of Institutions for San Mateo County Probation, and I'll be giving this report out as Superintendent Bustos, as well as Assistant Deputy Chief Becky Powers are not available this evening. Okay, so I'm reporting out for stats for March 2025. We had a total of 359 cases. Of those 359, we had 12 youth with gang orders and 1 placement case. We had a total of 7 DPOs for our juvenile division as well for March 2025. Of those cases, of those 359, 54 were diversion, 123 were court, and 182 were supervision. Of those diversion cases, 5 were referred to the petty theft program. In regards to ethnicity, for those 359 cases, 20 were Asian, 37 were Black, 194 were Hispanic or Latino, 8 were Native Hawaiian / Pacific Islander, 33 were white, and 67 were other. For the for the gender of those 359, we had 83 female, 275 male, and 1 transgender. Of all the cities within our county, 6 of our cities dominated the 359 cases, which were Daly City with 38, East Palo Alto with 47, Redwood City with 61, San Bruno with 18, San Mateo with 52, and South San Francisco with 19, with 57 cases being out of county. For the YSC, the population, or should I say the population ended at 34 total, with 28 male felonies, 28 male misdemeanor, 2 female felonies, and 2 female misdemeanors. Out of our population for SYTF, we have 4 males. On electronic monitoring, we have 14 total, with 10 being male felony, 3 male misdemeanor, and 1 female felony. The ethnic breakdown at the YSC is as follows. We had 2 Asian, 3 Black, 25 Hispanic and Latino, 1 Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, and 3 others. For EMP, we had a total of 14 for March 2025, with 13 being Hispanic and 1 being Pacific Islander. And of those EMP, for the EMP, we had 5 male predisposition and 5 male post-disposition. We had 24 in-county bookings, as well as 4 out-of-county bookings, 16 releases, and 2 successful completions of EMP. And we had 8 in-county referrals for EMP as well. And those are the stats for juvenile services as well as the YSC.
And just quickly, good afternoon, everyone. And sorry, I was in the middle of transitioning to panelists, so you may not have heard me greet you guys earlier. 2 things I want to point out about the information that Deputy Chief Wade just shared. One, I want to thank Ms. Rasmussen and Ms. Hubert Levy. We were able to come together and agree on a table of information and data that we would be passing out. This information is reflective of that original ask, and so you will see it's a little bit more expansive than it has been in the past. And so it's our intention to move forward with making sure we deliver this data every single time that we come. So just wanted to once again reach out and just say thank you to both of them. And we really appreciate the partnership to be able to kind of get to a landing point to provide additional information in this space. And then the one thing I wanted to add about the placement case, as many of you may recall, for the last several years, we have been at functional 0 for placement cases in our county. And frankly, that's just representative of the trends and the data times where we're in. This one case, though, is a joint case, is a 241.1 case where probation has been working closely with child welfare. As you know, the way this process works, sometimes child welfare will take the lead in cases where they believe their services can do the most support, for the child, where it would be harmful for them to maybe be primarily in the probation system, and then vice versa. Probation will take the lead at times when our services are more directed and more supportive of the space. This is one of those instances where, probation is working to take the lead in the case, and we're trying to be supportive of child welfare in that space and really supporting that work moving forward. We really wanted to point that out because this is a change from where we've been over the last several years where we hadn't had any kids in placement. So we don't necessarily think this represents any, big emerging trends at this point, but it's just certainly something I want to point out. And that's it. And we'll answer any questions you guys have about the data that Deputy Chief Wade shared with you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief Wade and Chief Keen. We were sitting here in the room saying, wow, this is fantastic. Like, this data really gives us a clear snapshot of what is happening in the system. So thank you for presenting that. An excellent job to Monye Wade. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Commissioner
Chair.
Blanco.
So I have a question and then a request. What is a DPO?
Deputy Probation Officer.
Oh, okay. All right, good to know. So many acronyms.
Yeah.
And the request is, I love the report from probation. Thank you so much, Chief King and Deputy Chief Wade. I'd like to know if we may be able to take that information just to just another level. Is it possible to also find out or also report the school districts that our youth are coming from? For example, when you reported Daly City, we really won't be able to know the difference whether it's Jefferson Elementary School District or Jefferson Union High School District.
Well, I will tell you this. In the past, we've tried to, frankly, stay in our lane with regard to the information that is our information to report out. I would like to defer to the school department and let them kind of handle those types of requests. I think it's the more appropriate way to respond. And frankly, in terms of the way our data system is set up, that's similar to what Ms. Hans represented. It's the data points that we have access to are the ones that are easiest for us to respond to. And so once we start getting into kind of hand, counting and extra steps and things of that nature, those are the things where I prefer to try to, we defer to the systems that have that information readily available. And I would say educational information is probably in that space. And then also too, I don't want to inadvertently, violate any educational rules and laws that may be in place, because once again, that's not my system and not really my space to answer to.
I had a question that's similar, and hopefully it'll help. And as well, thank you. I appreciate all the information that you all presented. I'm glad you all were able to work that out together. My question is, because I'm from Daly City and I'm also a school board member, so my question was, is it possible, and you might have this information already, is it aggregated by either neighborhood or at least zip code. Because I would be interested to know, are these youth coming from Bayshore? I'm from Midway Village in Bayshore, and 94014, has a reputation. So if there's anything that I could do to help that, I'm available.
So great question, Sally. What we have done in a more universal response is if you look at some of our ASR data historically, we do break things down by zip codes in kind of the larger discussion around delinquency within the county. At this point, it's been, goodness, maybe it's close to 10 years ago, we were able to pull together a report with ASR's help that actually cross-referenced information around education, around let's say runaways from home, calls for CPS information, and as well as school district information. And so there's some historical data, but we don't keep that information as a regular part of our kind of services. Once again, kind of SIPCO specific information around education, short of what we were able to do in that much broader report, is usually something we allow for education in the districts and the actual the Office of Ed to be responsible for. And I hope that's helpful. I mean, I know it's not helpful right in this moment because obviously, everyone would like to see the information firsthand, but like I said, I just really work hard to try to make sure we stay responsible for the things we're responsible for and we don't bleed off into other people's space.
Yeah, no, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. I had a question. Sir, you mentioned that the data that you provided, Ms. Rasmussen, was more expansive than other annual reports, I'm assuming.
This is just for the monthly report
Just
out.
for the monthly report.
Just for the monthly report.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else have questions for probation? Okay, we'll take public comment then. Yes. Yes.
Members of the public, if you wish to, actually, you know what? Let's take public comment on all the items under consideration. So
Okay.
I think it's okay. You can still speak. That's
Yeah.
fine, yeah. But we'll take all the comments under A, B, C, and C for now, which we just heard. So go ahead. Please state your name for the record.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Genevieve Pineda. I'm a Kenyatta student. I had a question if there's a way to, all that information that he shared with us, to make that in some sort of chart or visual to share with the public. Is that possible?
Hi, thank you for raising that. We do pretty extensive minutes of our meetings, and that information is recorded every month. So you can go onto our website and look for the minutes, and that information will be there for you.
In regards to what you just said, but don't you think, is it visually there? I mean, I know we can see what is said, but maybe like some kind of chart.
Yeah, I
visual.
think that's a great idea. At least that's not something that we've done, but that's a wonderful suggestion.
Yeah.
And so I'd be happy to put something like that together.
Yeah, it'll do it for you, you know?
Yeah,
Punch it in.
exactly. That's right. The world has changed. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yes,
Through the chair, with her suggestion,
yes.
would you be able to prepare that prior to the meeting so it's in the minutes? Or will it go after in the minutes?
So it would follow so it would be in this month's minutes
Right.
because the report is given
Right.
here.
Right, 'cause I liked her idea. I'm wondering if we can get, there's a way to have it, so we can have it in the in the
But-
agenda prior.
It would
Yeah.
be too difficult because
Right.
we have time requirements for Brown Act of when the agenda must go out to the public. That would push our data back, in some
A
cases
couple of
with the
days?
weekend, 5 days. So that
Right,
would
but it was a
alter
good
the
idea.
data.
Thank you so much for.
You're welcome.
for me.
Okay,
Any other public comment for items A, B, or C? No additional.
okay, so we'll continue down.
And I'm sorry, Chair,
Yes.
just one more thing through the chair. I'm sorry, I
Sure.
misspoke. That just came to my mind. Actually, in that placement case, we're not the lead. Child welfare is the lead. I'm sorry, I misspoke in that case, but we're actually being very supportive in that space. So it's more of a shared space than it typically is in this particular case. But I wanted the minutes to reflect the most accurate information. So I apologize for the confusion.
Thank you so much for that clarification.
And also to Chair Rasmussen, if I could just add one more thought, please.
Yes.
I just want to let the group know that the probation department recently purchased a body scanner for our juvenile hall in efforts to combat contraband. It will be up and running shortly, but I want to share that with the group so everybody's aware of the the avenues we're taking to make sure that we have a safe and secure facility for our young men and women in our custody.
Well, I am absolutely thrilled to hear that. I know there were several commissioners, Vice Chair Huber Levy was one of them, who was working with Sacramento about a year ago to see what we could do to reduce strip searches and rely on technology. And so thank you so much for doing that, because it's more trauma informed, it's less invasive, and yet it still tackles the issue of contraband, which concerns all of us. So thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, then we will move on then to Sarah Notch with the County Office of Education. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. I appreciate my partners from probation giving a nice lead into something that I honestly hadn't thought of before, but to Commissioner Blanco's question about information around school districts, even grade levels, I would be happy to prepare that for future updates. One thing I do want to note is that our average length of stay in the school programs is less than a month. So it does turn over pretty quickly. So think about it while I'm giving the rest of my updates, and then I would love to hear from you if you would rather have a full month snapshot or just a point in time snapshot on the date of the JJDPC meetings, whatever would be the most helpful information for you. I'd be happy to gather that. I wanted to mention a couple of things. We are at the very end of our search for a principal for next year. It's not official. Yes, I see Commissioner Ali celebrating. I am celebrating as well. I'm not at the point where I can give any names because it hasn't been made public, but we are thrilled. We're just waiting for a couple of paperwork pieces to come through. I anticipate I'll know about that before the next meeting, so I would be happy to email Chair Rasmussen and Vice Chair Huber Levy with information that could be sent out to the commission. So keep your fingers crossed. I think everything's going to go swimmingly, but we are very excited about this candidate, and I can't wait to share more. We are also, oh, thank you. Yes, Vice Chair Huber Levy. It's really wonderful, and I think that yeah, I can't say enough about how what a game changer it's going to be for our students to have someone who's consistent, and how much I appreciate our original director of school programs, who essentially turned into interim principal this year, Dr. Jesus Jimenez, stepping in and filling that role. But it will be wonderful to have all the pieces in place for next year. So very, very excited. We are at the tail end of LCAP season as well. So earlier today, I sent out an email with a couple of resource documents that we shared with our board at an LCAP study session, as well as a link to an LCAP survey for our partners that I would love for the commissioners to consider responding to if you have time. The resource documents are for your review, just so you can have some context for other partners, probation, Fly, Project Change. There's several who are on here right now. Dr. Jimenez will be sending that link out to you, to all of you. But we really we're in year one of a 3-year implementation. So this year was really about aligning all of our plans, our WASC, our LCAP, our strategic plan, setting a vision, gathering baseline data. We're really pleased with what we've been able to accomplish, but full implementation takes 3 to 5 years. So we're trying to be measured about our expectations. So there will be plenty of metrics and actions that we have not completed this year, and that's not the intention. So we're being patient with ourselves, but we are able to make any adjustments that we feel are necessary, and our partner feedback is a huge part of that process. So anything you can do to weigh in would be greatly appreciated. And then finally, I believe it was the last meeting where there was a request to see if we could move our graduation date or graduation time, and I couldn't pull it off. So we do have our Hillcrest graduation happening on Wednesday, May 28th from 2 to 3:30. Dr. Jimenez is working with our probation partners to make sure that we are monitoring capacity and all of the things that have to happen about making sure we know who's attending. So if any of the commissioners would like to attend, you can either reach out to me directly, or if the commission would rather collect names and information and send it to me through the chair or vice chair, whatever works best for you. But we would love to see you there to celebrate our graduates for high school, as well as our community college associate's degree graduates. And I think that was everything that I wanted to share. So happy to take any questions or feedback.
Thank you so much for that report, and we are very much looking forward to that graduation. I think that's one of the things we do best here in San Mateo County, between the high school and the college, particularly. The kids get so excited about learning, so thank you so much for that report.
Of course.
Questions for Sarah? Yes.
Thank you for the report. I just wanted to ask about the process for selecting a new principal. I know you mentioned that like consistency was very important and there was an issue with the lost principal. I just wanted to ask for a bit more context for that and how you're you maybe changed your process or like evaluated this candidate differently to ensure that they may be more better than lost.
I really appreciate that question. Thank you, Commissioner. Our process is multiple rounds. So we do paper screening first. We had a very robust candidate pool, which we were delighted by. And then we brought several candidates to round one. Round one is questions only, and we shape the questions every year based on what's happening, what has happened in the past. So there were definitely some amendments to the questions and or complete changes. Our second round are candidates that rise to the top in the first round. And in addition to questions, they have a performance task that they have to do. So it's something that we feel is relevant to us being able to get a glimpse into how they would help support progress in our programs. After that, they may or may not have another round. It just depends on different circumstances before the final round, which is a meeting with our superintendent of schools, who meets with every single candidate who is put forth for a position within the County Office of Education. So it ends up being pretty robust, of course, reference checks, things like that. So we definitely took some of the experiences that we've had over the past 2 years and used that to modify what we were both looking for in, through the questions and performance task, as well as what we were sharing with the candidates about our priorities, because we firmly believe that goodness of fit has to be determined on both sides. So we run a pretty transparent process so they know where we are, where we want to be, where we're going, what we're looking for, so they can make the best determination for themselves as well.
Thank you so much for that clarification and for that question. Next up will be, yes. Oh, yes.
Let me at this time maybe ask for public comment for this item number D. Let me call on Nicholas Kramer first, and then we'll take comments from the room. And I'll also believe Commissioner Ali has a question. So Commissioner Kramer, you'll be acting as a member of the public, so please proceed.
Hi there. I was just wondering the class size of both your students who are graduating from high school as well as those who are obtaining their associate's degrees. If you have that information, that would be wonderful to know.
Thank you for the question. I can give you a ballpark. It really changes day to day. We are not administering the educational programming for our graduates. We're good partners in that, but we're not the educational entity that that administers that. So it's usually around 6. I'm getting a visual of the computer lab in my head right now. It's usually around 6. For our high school and sometimes middle school students, we have them in usually 2 sections based on the configuration that needs to happen with consultation with our probation partners for various reasons. That is typically around 13 or 14. And then sometimes we have students um, who are on separate plans for whatever the reason might be in order to meet their needs. We have had classes go as high as 20 this year, I believe. But on average, it's generally much smaller than a comprehensive high school, though it is a multi-grade level class, which does bring its own sort of intricacies in instruction.
Thank you so much.
May I ask, oh, I'm so sorry. May I ask Commissioner Clemmer if that would be something that would be helpful for me to bring in when I report out on grade levels and enrollment numbers? Would it be nice to also have an idea of class sizes in the moment?
This was just more so like a point of curiosity for me, but I feel like if it's not too much of a hassle in the next meeting, it would be pretty valuable information to know. As well, I mean, with that information, we could kind of compare that to other counties, as well as different juvenile justice systems, just to see how San Mateo County is stacking up. And just from the information that you've given me, it seems to be an extremely impressive system. We really appreciate the work that you guys are doing. And so that's just some information that we could use to further contextualize this endeavor.
Wonderful. Thank you.
One speaker from this room, Melissa, please proceed.
Hi there, this is Melissa Wilson. It's nice to see you, Sarah.
Good evening.
Hi, it looks like you have done a lot of work and I'm impressed by all the work that you've done here. I had one comment and two observations. The comment is that I love that the Hillcrest exit survey happened and that you looked at demographics of students who were there for not as long as other students. It would be great to know whether there were discernible differences between those two groups in how they felt about school. I think that might be elucidating. And two observations, and I didn't have a lot of time to sit with this, but the two things I wanted to sort of highlight maybe to the commission is that the walkthroughs showed that 60% of the content was not aligned with standards. And so that's obviously something to work on. And then the other thing is just, I was surprised at how neutral the educators were about their LCAP standards. So how well does the LCAP meet student needs? 66% were neutral. How well does the LCAP meet student needs with disabilities? 11% said not well and 56 were neutral. And it seems like if we all have a goal, it should be an exciting goal that people believe in to get there.
Thank you. No additional public comment, and through the chair, I believe Commissioner Ali had a question.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I have
Commissioner
something going on where I can't raise the hand digitally. So anyhow, thank you so much, Ms. Notch. I was just wondering, is it a challenge to hire teachers for, for all your schools? And then also, is there a need for substitute teachers credentialed?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Ali. Substitutes are a definite need. We have tried a variety of different ways to increase our sub pool. When we have absences, we don't often have sub coverage for those absences, which results in our teachers covering and or our administrators covering, depending on what the circumstances are, the other teachers. It's usually administrators, which then of course impacts the work that they can do administratively. So if you know of anybody who would like to be a sub, it's a wonderful experience. That would be very, very helpful. As far as hiring teachers, given the sections that we're running, we do not have any teacher vacancies right now. We're able to cover all of our sections, but with absences, yes, subs would be very, very helpful.
Okay. I definitely know people, and we could talk later because, I'm available to sub as well, but I need to just talk with, with everyone to see what that would look like or if it's even possible.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
And if I could have just one more minute to share something, I appreciated the public comment about some of the survey results and what we have been able to gather. One thing that we did share with our board that isn't reflected in the deck because it was verbal is that we're right on the beginning of getting some of these walkthroughs up and running. So 15 observations isn't statistically significant. We want to have you know 5 or 6 observations per week, if not more. So we're working on getting more. It does give us some information about where we need to push in and where we need to look and head toward baseline. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that we also noticed some of the neutrality in the staff survey results. And so our, as well as some of the student survey results. So our interest is getting to the why. What is that about? Is it that they feel they need more support in training and implementing the LCAP goals? Do they have specific feedback about what we need to do differently? So for us, it's not about administering a survey and then drawing our own conclusions. It gives us a starting point for investigation and really getting to the root of the cause of what's happening. So I just wanted to reassure commissioners that this is a beginning and not an end for us, what we shared with you in the documents today.
Thank you so much. Yes.
If I may ask a follow-up to that, I know you mentioned next steps. What would those next steps look like?
As far as the LCAP revisions?
Yes.
Yes. So we are not in a full rewrite this year, so we just need to make adjustments. So between now and June, we are digging into feedback that we get from our students and families and partners, and then having a variety of different follow-up conversations. So we could have some small focus groups with any of those entities, have individual conversations with our staff. The surveys that we administer are all anonymous because we want candid feedback. So it doesn't allow us to follow up with individuals based on their particular survey answers. And so it really requires us to speak with everyone. So depending on the circumstances, we'll have individual or group conversations. And then we're also devoting a lot of our professional development time on every other Wednesday afternoon to digging into reflections, what's working, what do they need, what would be better. And so it's just kind of a continuous improvement process of communication, and then also deep data dives. So looking at credit recovery, credit accrual, discipline incidents, like every possible data source that we can pull out of our systems and processes. And then we kind of look at that collectively, review it with our teams, and then from that comes recommendations for adjustments or amendments to the plan. You probably won't see major changes because, again, this is year 1 of 3 years of implementation. So a lot of what we will have will be subtle changes and or setting baselines, but it will inform the work that we do with our staff over the next year and the direction that our professional development goes.
Thank you so much for that clarification, Sarah. So we're going to move on now to Fly, an update from Fly.
To the chair?
Yes.
I had 2 questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for amending the reports from future reports to include school districts. I appreciate that.
Of course.
So one is follow up on ethnic studies. Could you please provide an update? Where are you all on implementation? Please.
Yes, ethnic studies is going to be run through our partnership with the community college district. We saw the benefit of that in multiple ways, from dual enrollment and being able to earn college credits, as well as getting dedicated ethnic studies rather than it being an add-in to our social science curriculum. So that's how we're planning on moving forward with that, at least currently. And then we'll see how it works and adjust if necessary, but that's our plan right now.
So when is that for fall? Is that
I,
summer?
I believe it's fall. We haven't set the fall courses yet with the community college district, but I believe that that is the discussion that they were having. And they might actually, now that I think about it, I think they're running one right now. I will check on that and get back to you. I think they might be running one right now at Hillcrest.
I'm just looking over here. It doesn't look at it is, but can't wait
No?
to hear report. No.
Oh,
The other
okay.
one is, so over the weekend, I attended a youth justice conference in Gilroy, co-sponsored and co-hosted with several organizations in Santa Clara County. And at the same college in Gavilan College, there were two programs. One was the youth justice conference, and the other was a justice scholars panel. And a gentleman from OYCR was there, Dr. Michael Massa, and
Oh, yes.
he had shared with me that we're going to be receiving some dollars to implement, incorporate a reading intervention program. And I do believe that in my brief conversation with him, he did share that it may have already gone before the Board of Education to approve. Can you speak a little bit about that, or did I misunderstand him? Thank you. And that was my second.
Well, great. Thank you. No, not a misunderstanding, but you're further along in the process than we are. I was able to meet with Dr. Massa, I believe after he had a conversation with Chair Rasmussen. So thank you for passing him our way. Dr. Massa and I have collaborated multiple times throughout the year. So it was great to have an opportunity to check in. He did share the information with me about the reading intervention program, and it's on the table for consideration. There are some things that we have to consider, including staffing and administration of the program because of the ratios that it takes to administer, looking at our master scheduling for next year, which hasn't been set up, as well as our budget, because after the pilot, we have to make sure that we can sustain it. So I have a budget meeting in May to set the LCAP budget. So we'll know more, but did get very wonderful information from him about results from previous county office work that he's done, and one office of education in particular, San Diego County. Next week, I think it's next week, I'm going to the JSAC conference. We're actually presenting about our work implementing CTE in Hillcrest and Gateway. So we'll be presenting at the conference, but I have a meeting set up with a colleague in San Diego County to talk more about their experience. So it's well underway for investigation. If we're able to make it happen, it sounds like a wonderful program.
Thank you.
Can I just say that I think what I heard, the plan that you have for ethnic studies, that's an excellent plan. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And I know that we're running behind schedule, but next up is Fly. And so I'm not sure if Maria or, oh, I see Chris Brett.
Yes, hello.
Welcome.
I'll be
Nice to
presenting first and then I'll pass it to Tati. So
Okay,
Tati and I
sounds
will be
great.
giving updates, yeah.
Thank you.
But good afternoon, everyone. Good to see everyone. So right now for the reentry program, we have 23 youth on caseload. We recently hired a third case manager, so we will now have 3 case managers. She will be starting next week. And just wanted to highlight that process too. So we like to have youth in the interviews. So we had 3 youth kind of support us with those interviews and give feedback on who they felt could best support them, who they kind of built a strong connection with, and also have them give input on the questions that they would like to ask about the needs that they have observed either by themselves or in their community. So yeah, I just wanted to shout out those 3 youth for supporting us with that hiring process. And then also did want to share that we will also be starting a kind of a piloting a credible messenger program. I believe I spoke about it last time, but he's actually started a meeting with one of the youth already, and they're working more on hobbies. They're kind of building RC cars and also creating like art. Like he hopes to work on a mural. So our credible messenger will be kind of prioritizing a lot of those hobbies and different needs that the youth might have. From our caseload, 4 of them are currently employed. One recently just got employed this past weekend, and a lot of them are looking for summer employment. So we hope to set them up with resources on how to find summer employment to keep them busy. And then we also have noticed a lot of youth have community service hours to complete, usually through court orders or probation. So we did an event last week, which was making dog toys to donate to a shelter. So we will continue to come up with different community service events to kind of help address these community service hours that the youth have required for them. But yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions after Tati gives her updates as well.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Tati.
Good morning. Oh, good evening. Sorry. So for our SOAR program, our REPS program inside the juvenile hall, we currently have 8 boys and 1 girl in program. Of those, we have 3 who will be graduating college next month, and 2 of those will be continuing onto a 4-year for their bachelor's. The 3rd graduate decided not to continue at this time only because he does hope to be fire camp eligible at the end of this year, so he doesn't want to interrupt his studies. We have in our program 4 high school graduates. One of our youth launched his own clothing brand and website, so that is up and running. They are currently also working on making custom rugs. We're doing re-entry planning and finding programs that they can do while they're incarcerated that will certify them in some sort of trade that they're interested in so that they have that certification under their belt once they're home. Last week, during our workshop time, we had a decompress time for them because a lot of the boys have been mentioning just stress about court and just upcoming events in their life. So instead of doing a workshop, we held a decompression time for them. So I brought in canvases and they were able to paint on their canvases, and each youth picked a YouTube song that they wanted to play. So it was just a nice moment for all of them, and they were all involved, and even staff was saying, oh my gosh, it's great to see them all enjoying something. So that was a nice moment for all of us. And then the youth on Pine 4 actually helped in the interview process for our reentry TAY case manager. And so we have onboarded that case manager. His name is Carlos. I'm sure he'll be at these meetings with us in the future, but he actually got the chance to go to Pine 4 yesterday and meet those youth. So they were super happy about that. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Questions for Fly? Okay, well, I just want to say that you're doing incredible work. The work that Fly was doing a year ago versus the work that you're doing now is just, it's really expanded and it's really zeroed in on what our kids need. And so I just cannot thank you enough for all of your efforts and your commitment to our most vulnerable kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You appreciate it, Joanna.
Okay, so we'll call for public comment on that. We'll be moving on to our presentation. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the public, if you wish to comment, please raise your hand in Zoom, or if you wish to speak from this room, raise your hand as well. Okay, I do see one hand raised from Raimundo Armendariz. Raimundo, please proceed.
Hi, this question is for Fly. So I know that you mentioned that you had a credible messenger on, I'm not sure if it's a volunteer or a staff member, but I had a question. So is the credible messenger, like, were they trained through the credible messenger program led by Clinton Lacey's office, or do they have lived experience? Like, were they previously incarcerated or impacted by the justice system?
Yeah, so right now we have one credible messenger identified, and he does have lived experience. He is getting trained internally by our other staff member named Harold, who's also like himself a credible messenger, I guess would fall under that category. So he's being trained internally within our organization. But we are very much in the beginning stages of developing this program. So any suggestions, or I can write down what you mentioned as well, would be helpful for us as we figure out this new program.
So lived experience is the same as having a criminal background, like they've been in the system previously in their life.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
That
No,
is the sentiment, that they have lived experience. Yeah, usually criminal record, and kind of can use that experience as, as there's to kind of relate to the young people.
okay. No, that was the only question I had.
Okay.
That I think that's important information too. And that a credible messenger program is another thing we've been wanting to do for a long time. So thank you so much. So with that, I'm going to go really quick because we're behind schedule. So we are very fortunate tonight that we have several members. I've lost count how many. I had 10 on my sheet, but the room is filled, and these are all folks with the Project Change program, which is responsible for some of these graduates that we're hearing about. Project Change is the San Mateo County Community College District, and they were the first community college-based program in California to provide wraparound student support services and direct pathways to higher education for youth impacted by the juvenile justice system. So we're going to hear about where the program is in each of our community colleges, and we're going to hear from many different people tonight about Project Change and what they're offering our young people. So thank you so much, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Commissioner Rasmussen and the JJDPC for the invitation to present tonight. My name is Aaron McVean. I am the Vice Chancellor of Educational Services and Planning for the San Mateo County Community College District. I have a number of friends with me here tonight. They'll all introduce themselves when they take a turn at the mic. I attended the last meeting of the commission, and it did strike me that it's been too long since you all heard a presentation about Project Change, and so that's what we are here to talk about. Project Change was the first program in the state designed to provide direct pathways to higher education at the community college for students impacted by the juvenile justice system. It was the first program that was designed from the start to recognize the limitless potential of these students and to offer all the opportunities that they have previously been denied in their educational journeys. It was and is a program that sees every student as deserving access to higher education and all the benefits that we all know that can bring. Some of you may remember the late Tom Moore, who served on this commission, and he was a champion of Project Change from the very beginning, and together with Chief Keene and with Superintendent Nancy McGee in the County Office of Education, it is the long-standing partnerships and collaboration that keep Project Change going. So it's good to be here with the JJDPC as well. I want to be sure to thank Chief Keene for his commitment to this work, because without probation in the County Office of Education, none of this would be possible. So with that, let me turn it over to Stacy to get into the presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you. My name is Stacy Nojima Gutierrez, and I am the Director of Strategic Initiatives and Planning at the San Mateo County Community College District. So I am here, I'm going to give a brief overview of what is Project Change, so you kind of get a little context. Essentially, it is a pathway program into higher education for juvenile justice impacted students. It started in 2013 at the College of San Mateo, and it has expanded to all 3 colleges within our district. So not just CSM, but also Skyline College and Kenyatta College. In terms of program components, we have on-site programming in the juvenile facility and as well as at the community and alternative schools. This includes transferable college level courses, which we'll talk about the specific courses here in a minute. And that includes the Golden 4, which are 4 major categories of general education classes that transfer to a UC or a CSU. So our emphasis is really on creating a path to transfer. And we also have academic guidance from counseling faculty, some of which are here today, as well as transition support from our program service coordinators. So for instance, if a student is released mid-semester, we have ways to help them continue their coursework and still get and maintain their academic progress. We also provide direct transition support into Kenyatta, Skyline, and CSM, as well as wraparound services and resources. And we'll talk a little bit about what those entail, including bus passes and book vouchers, et cetera. So once they're actually on our campus, the kinds of services and support that they receive. And we have dedicated program staff as well as committed community partners. Next slide, please. So why Project Change? We want to show you why students join this program. And so this video that we're about to play, it's only about a minute long. It provides a really good overview of the benefits of the program from the student perspective. This is from Kenyatta College's Project Change. We also have 2 students that are here today. So in a little bit, they'll be talking from their perspective as well. So if you can go ahead and play the video, please.
How has Project Change impacted me?
I grew up in foster care, in the juvenile hall system. Most of my life literally was incarcerated.
I didn't plan on going to college or anything. I just went to court school and all, but I never really liked school after that.
I wanted to start college. I didn't even think it was possible because no one in my family has gone to college. And they told me about this program with Project Change and how it supports me, can help me. And it's hella cool because I'm like, damn, I could do it. And I never thought I could.
Everyone I met so far helped me basically get it back, stand up on my feet, my 2 feet. People in Project Change would guide you to help you in your future, help you in your careers and any ways you want to succeed. They helped me get my transportation passes and stuff, and it helped me in school and helped me like talk things out when I needed to talk to someone.
Has somebody that meets with us as much as we need it, and somebody who understands us.
Seeing how family-oriented you naturally is.
It just gives you that extra support you need. And it also like builds a little community, like a little groups.
Coming in here and kicking it. Sometimes we do homework. You give me advice, but then we also come and just smile. And that's nice to have.
People just come and share some similar experiences or like just can relate to each other. So that's the way I see it. It helps.
We don't get judged.
Exactly. So like it just feels the same. Everybody being treated the same.
It's the future for students. That's what I'm gonna say.
Next slide, please. Thank you. So I'm going to turn it back to Dr. McVean.
Before we zoom in on the program, I want to zoom out a little bit. Project Change, and in particular with the support of San Mateo County and so many, it's a big deal. And it's a big deal because it's also been able to influence legislation at the state level that has provided this benefit across the state outside of our county. AB 102 expanded dual enrollment opportunities as legislation into the court and community schools. And so this allowed us to enter into an agreement with the County Office of Education to ensure that we offer dual enrollment. And so that was one of the first models in the state with Project Changes to provide dual enrollment to high school students in facility. SB 716 required probation to offer higher education opportunities in juvenile justice facilities. And so that had to make it into the local plans for all agencies, especially after realignment. So this is a required component of programming that's supposed to take place inside juvenile facilities. SB 178, most recently, biggest deal was an allocation in partnership with Senator Ting's office, the Youth Law Center, for $15 million in ongoing funding through the California Community College systems that expanded this model based on Project Change to 47 colleges across the state. And so that's where we are right now. We're in a massive expansion in the system based on the model that is Project Change, and in helping other jurisdictions understand how we do this in San Mateo County so they can replicate it in their county, especially with that focus on the importance of partnership. And then finally, and you'll hear from Youth Law Center now, Youth Law Center and Project Change and their student advocacy work at the state level. There's a day in the Capitol coming up. So I invite our partners from Youth Law Center to come up and tell you about what's going on with their support for the students of Project Change and the Rising Scholars Network. MJ.
Hey y'all, good evening. My name is MJ Hart, they them pronouns. Thanks for having us here today. I am the Pathways Higher Education Project Coordinator at the Youth Law Center. A little bit, can you, next slide. Thank you. So you can follow along while I'm spitting some truth here. If y'all don't know about the Youth Law Center, we are a national public law firm that focuses on supporting youth in the child welfare system and the juvenile justice system with the emphasis on systems change. So we really want to transform the infrastructure of the systems to be better for the youth. And the youth are centered in everything that we do. And with that, you saw on the last slide, the legislation that had passed, we noticed that there is a need for building the leadership development, the policy advocacy, and power building skills of young leaders who are in these community colleges. And that is how the Youth Law Center Scholars in Action Fellowship is born. Copy. But our purpose really was to, is to really empower juvenile justice impacted students, both building their skills, their leadership development, but also their social emotional learning. They're building community amongst ourselves and back in their community colleges. So building power, whether they're organizing or they're leaders on their campuses. And also, most important, that their voices are centered and amplified in changing policies, whether it's about education, anything to do with juvenile justice, but really we notice that there's a need for centering their voices, for really having them amplified in these spaces that historically have been left out. And our mission isn't just to also to transform juvenile justice impacted students, but also really build them up and water their seeds to really create change, not just within, the legal sphere, but in their communities, right? Redefine who they are in the world, what they want to do, who they want to be, the impacts that they want to make, because we all know that, the world imposes different things upon them. And when they come to the space, we really start from the ground, from our garden, right? And really explore, who they are, how they want to move in the world, and we develop their skills in order to make that happen. And most importantly, again, systems change. So these are leaders that we are showing in real life that they are not just these titles that were put on them. They are community members with valuable insights, with valuable lived experience that in this space they learn to leverage to make change. Again, that systems change. And our vision really is that these young people are seen as leaders, community members, their value. And with that, their whole world transforms, both individually and for us. And moving in these spaces as, I want to say Aaron, sorry, I know they're calling you doctor. I'm like, should I call you doctor? Moving in these spaces, we provide opportunities through the Youth Law Center and our partnerships for the young people to come and speak on different events. And I will briefly say here, because the next one is about events. These are the last year's cohort. We were in partnership with the Stanford Law Policy Lab around, what does it look like to reimagine pathways to, higher education, or pathways that really centers restoration, healing, enrichment, development, and moves away from punishment. And with some of our student leaders had last year, literally rock stars, amazing, talking on panels nationally, moving in different, we were at the Capitol over here, we were lobbying. We had a little trip over here. That's actually our first photo right there. We had to root us in there. But can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. And so last year was our first year, and it was really just, I would say, a homecoming of what is possible for their growth, their development, their healing, and really embodying and being present in the work that we're doing. When we're talking about going to the Capitol, this year, we're going there and we're advocating for expanding this funding, expanding resources for the Rising Scholars Program, but our focus really specifically for juvenile justice impacted students who are in community college. And some of the events that we did last year, YLC does a Yelksels, so it's like a simulation of what it's like to be a young person navigating the different social services, whether it's getting your ID or getting your social security card or public benefits, but what that looks like. And the student leaders have facilitated that. I spoke a little bit about our partnership with the Stanford Law Policy Lab. The students, and these are them in spaces where they're learning to leverage their lived experience. So when we talked about that credible messengers, when y'all were talking about it, right, we want people who have the lived experience who can speak to it. So we are helping them develop their skills, both in leadership, both social, emotional, interpersonal relationships, and most importantly, what they want to do with their life, who they want to become, what do they want to learn and study and grow. And they wouldn't have that if they weren't exposed to these opportunities through Pathways to Higher Education. Myself, I, was in the system out here, spent my entire adolescence, and it was education, higher ed, that really, led me to my growth and development. And that's one of our first graduations. That's us up at the Stanford Policy Lab. One of our student leaders who's speaking, who had been impacted by the child welfare system as well. So really, it's overlap. And speaking of overlap, that bottom one is we have a new cohort this year. One of our cohort members, Tiffany, is going to be speaking. Tiffany and myself, Katie, we were out there at Sacramento and we spoke on a panel. It was the Breaking Barriers film screening, and we spoke on a panel and just talked about our experiences in these pathways. Like, how were they transformative for us? What is the benefit? How did they not only help us heal, but our communities? Excuse me. And that's we were right there, the pictures with the director Lucetto, Judge Lucetto, OICR, and Dr. Mousa. I didn't know he was a doctor, Miss Mousa. I know, right? I was like, oh, these titles. And up over there too, we were that was our last year's statewide Pathways to Higher Education conference. So if y'all are interested too, we have one every year. Our student leaders were emceeing. We had many different opportunities. So throughout this whole time of the cohort, it's a year cohort. We not only have opportunities with our community partners, but internal when we have different events, we have galas, we have our statewide conference. We have the student leaders literally the ones showing that they are leading in these ways where, because we want to embody and show that leadership opportunities need to be created and designated specifically for those with lived experience, specifically for those leaders who are impacted by the juvenile justice system and beyond. They can speak to it better than anybody else. And we, last year's cohort was statewide with the Rising Scholars Program because we really, emphasized this partnership. It has to be statewide as all the programs are rolling out, getting built. And then also on the state level, we're in partnership with like the behavioral health, so many different opportunities, but showing and embodying what it looks like to center these young people in their leadership and actually hear their expertise and their insights and actually impact the changing of programs, of policies, of development. So as these programs are being developed, as legislation is being passed, their voices are actually being considered and centered in this because nothing about us without us, right? Like I can't speak to it. And we also had our panel for the K practice exchange where student leaders spoke to a legal clinic or like lawyers doing public work to pro bono legal clinics and speaking about how they can best support young people who are impacted by the system or navigating the system. So again, we're not only building this community and developing their skills, their policy advocacy, leadership development, but we're building a community. And I also provide conscious mentorship. I call it conscious mentorship because it's really, we need that community. We need the mentorship. And all of us building this community amongst ourselves, they then have gone out and most of these student leaders from last year, they're doing amazing things now. They're funding programs. The next slide that I'll show you, one of the leaders, he does healing workshops with the migrant and immigration communities over in, I think it's part of Santa Cruz County, like over by Monterey and area. I think it's still Santa Cruz County. But yeah, you can go to the next one, please. Thank you. And then three of our student leaders from last year who had graduated. Our first student leader from College of San Mateo, she got her A in ethnic studies, transferred to San Francisco State, majoring in race and resistance studies, emphasis on that ethnic studies, that's real, it's needed. And the middle person right here is Jeffrey. He's the one I was just talking about. He facilitates healing workshops with the elementary school children through Milpa. He also is now a rising star in the Project Rebound at CSUMB. He's doing so many things. He's literally gone so many conferences and coordinated many different things. Our student leader, Angel, he, with academic distinction, he got 2 AAs, all 4.0. He transferred to Berkeley majoring in philosophy. And showing this too, because our student leader, Jeffrey in the middle, he actually was doing something else. And because he engaged in the student leadership cohort, he changed his major. He really wanted to then be doing collaborative health. I think his concentration, I believe it's nonprofit management. But really, again, emphasizing that as we're genuinely wanting to transform these spaces and systems, really holding in the center that we really want to move away from punishment and really we have an infrastructure that can provide development, enrichment for these young people. We're briefly told about, right, having that unit recovery, having transferable units, and actually trying to encourage young people to engage in these pathways to higher education because it's not just about getting an education, it's about community, healing, redefining what it is for them to be a young person navigating these spaces and really reclaiming their narratives and who they are and learning to turn all of that pain into power and learn to leverage that in a way that's healing for them and impacts systems change, right? And at the middle of it, nothing about us without us. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to come and share with you a little bit about our Project Change. Thank you for changing the slide. My name is Diva Ward. I am the Director of Strategic Grant Initiatives for the San Mateo County Community College District. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, MJ, thank you for talking about how many supports there are throughout the state, but a little bit about how our district has framed the work in supporting system impacted students. You heard MJ refer to it. Rising Scholars, right? It's this big term. There's a lot of activity and mobility around Rising Scholars right now. And for our purposes, Rising Scholars is Project Change. So you might be wondering who it is exactly we can support under the Rising Scholars umbrella. We're going to talk a little bit also about the Juvenile Justice Program, and those two kind of work in tandem at our district with different different audiences that we support. So Project Change, our local name for that is under the Rising Scholars umbrella. We also have the Juvenile Justice Impacted. Juvenile Justice means any student that has is system impacted. They could be from a teenager through the age of 25. We can also serve a student that was impacted prior to in their youth, and they can also be served as a part of our program. Next slide. So let's talk about the money a little bit. The Project Change funding. Initially, when we started in our district, it was in 2013. It was a lot smaller in scale, but what happened was when you do something and you do it well, others want a part of that. So it was a good model for others to follow. So by 2018, within 5 years, there was a funding available throughout the state so that we can expand some of the successful practices that were created through Project Change. And from that led to 44 grants in the California Community College system, which we didn't grow our program beyond the College of San Mateo, where it started, until much later. But in 2021, there was another funding opportunity that allowed even more programs. Aaron mentioned it earlier, to be able to grow throughout the state. And just last year, our district was able to, all three of our colleges received $1.5 million to expand to juvenile justice program. We also, we did get a Rising Scholars pot of money to be able to serve system impacted. They did not have to be youth. What's differentiated now is that we do have funding at each of our three colleges that's dedicated to serving juveniles in the system who are system impacted. So we're really proud of that. And that's part of this collaboration that you all see here is us doing the work and working with our probation, working with our County Office of Ed to really support our students academically in their educational endeavors. Next slide. Okay, so you might be wondering what drives us to do the work. So we know when we started, I'm sure when folks started this in 2013, we knew that our students were more than just system impacted folks, but they were scholars, they were leaders, they had lives, they had aspirations, and we really wanted to be in a space where we can support that. So they have access, like every student that comes to our district, to high quality education, and it is a right. And it's probably what some say it is a privilege, but it's an expectation that when they come to us, they will be able to have opportunities like every student that comes to our doors. It's more than just about offering a class. So the old school lessons around, oh, you could come and take basket weaving. We actually don't. We create pathways to higher education, to four-year institutions. We want them to keep going in their educational endeavors. We provide the coursework and the information for them to be able to do that. And we're also building a family. This is a family. This is a community of support that we have for our students. And we're so proud and of the success that we've had. And we look forward to working with all of you in our county to be able to continue the good work that we started in 2013.
Okay, so let's talk about how this is done. So this is completed through our partnerships. So we work really closely with the probation department, as we mentioned, so Chief Keen, as well as the ISMs, and we have a really close collaboration with probation. We also work very closely with the San Mateo County Office of Education, as well as we're building out our collaboration and presence at the community and alternative schools. And as you heard from MJ, we have community partners such as the Youth Law Center. And this is done through a lot of meetings, a lot of building consensus and getting folks on the same page. So we have our Project Change internal leads meeting. We meet weekly. within our district. We also have an internal operations meeting. We meet monthly with the probation department as well as San Mateo County Office of Ed. And then twice a semester, we meet with the larger group, the Community Partners Advisory Committee meeting, to talk about kind of the broader big picture scale and direction that we're going. And next slide, please. Okay, so zooming in a little bit, within our community college district, here is kind of an organization chart that really just shows the robust infrastructure that we've built for staffing all the way from our district all the way down to each of the college and as well as their connection to target and community schools. I think counselors are really important in terms of this mix. So being able to support academically our students, as well as our program services coordinators who you'll hear from, they really anchor the work developing the program as well as supporting the students. With that, I'm going to turn it to Dr. Hignano.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Wesley Hingano, and I have the pleasure of serving as the retention specialist for Project Change at the CSM location. Addition to that, this semester I have been supporting the PSC role as it is currently vacant on our campus. And thirdly, I also adjunct faculty for Project Change. And so I have a unique lens today that shares all those three roles, similar to like a braid, into what I can share of what Project Change does and serves. Specifically at Hillcrest, being the main communicator for Project Change to Hillcrest, it's been great to work with Dr. Jimenez as well as Jonas. They have been amazing partners in bringing what our vision is at Hillcrest. And so these are some of the courses that we offer at Hillcrest: Math 200, Ethnic Studies, History 201, English 110, and others. The course that I specifically teach at Hillcrest and at Gateway is Keys to Success, and otherwise known as like the Project Change Classway, where we support students in showcasing that higher education is one pathway that they can take. And more specifically, supporting them in acknowledging their new identity as justice system impacted students and the different services that we have to offer in our district. The picture that you're seeing right here is Professor Laura's Ethics Studies 264, Evolution of Hip Hop. And during this course, we were able to fly in Boca Floca, who is a hip hop artist out of Atlanta. And he did a mini concert, spoken word event in the facility. And that's something that I just wanted to kind of uplift in this very moment, is that we're not just offering any type of higher education to these students. We are offering the top-notch higher education to these students. And so we're excited that we have, that we have the resources and the ideas and the vision, that we're not just teaching them hip hop through a textbook and or videos, but we're intentional about bringing people that are doing the work outside and sharing it with our students. But more importantly, our students are able to see themselves in these guest speakers. So that's just a little bit of what we do and the classes that we are teaching, which is just not limited to those listed above, but we have plans for the next 2 years that we're incorporating different courses as well. Thank you. And I'll be sharing a little bit more later.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miriam Mosqueda. I'm the Program Services Coordinator for Cañada College. I just got hired this past summer, so I'm nearing my first full year in the position. But I've been doing work with students in and out of the carceral system for about the last 10 years. So I'm going to be talking to you all a little bit about what it is that our program, how it is that our program supports students when they're on campus. So on campus, well, in facility as well. But on campus specifically, we offer a variety of different services for our students. So they have access to a dedicated academic counselor So they have someone who is dedicated specifically for them and to work with this population. So instead of having to wait for general counseling, where maybe it might be a little bit harder for them to have access to an appointment, they have somebody who's ready and available for them to meet with them and get their student educational plans going and support them registering for classes and whatever their needs are with that. We have somebody also in facility who's supporting with that. And for our program at Cañada College, our counselor is actually here, Dega Teklamariam. So we love her support and her being there to support our students. We are also able to provide financial support for our students. So every month they are able to access transportation funds. So that's through our campus bookstore. So they're able to choose if they want a Clipper card, a bus pass, if they want Uber or a gas card. So they have a variety of options for them just to support them in accessibility for whatever it is that their needs are. They also get access to a book stipend every semester to support them with books and supplies, and also on-campus food vouchers, also through the campus bookstore. We offer a variety of program engagement opportunities, so the students can come with us to join in conferences, speaker series, and different community building activities. So you'll see a little bit of that in the next slide. And then different campus resources that we're able to provide referrals to, connections to, and warm handoffs to. So we have Spark Point on our campus, which is our basic needs program. So they're able to support them with housing referrals, with job attainment, with getting access to food, and things like that. We have different learning communities on campus that they can have access to as well. Personal counseling, tutoring, financial aid is also available to them. And then through our staff, we're able to, sometimes for them, they feel overwhelmed, going to these places. So we are able to walk them there, connect them with that person, provide that warm handoff. So then when they move forward, they're able to kind of build that confidence for themselves and know who to talk to and how to navigate those systems. We also have dedicated space on campus for them. So us at Cañada College, we're really excited because this semester we opened the Social Justice Center, or the Social Justice Lounge. So it's a shared space with Project Change, our TRIO program, and then just student groups on campus who might want to utilize the space. So that's really exciting for us. And then we also just have supportive faculty, staff, and administrators that are available and eager to support the students as well. Next slide. So this is some of what we have going on at Cañada College and all the beautiful faces of Project Change, some of which are here in the audience. So at Cañada College, we really want to emphasize, and at all three campuses, we really want to emphasize community building for the students. So just kind of letting them know that they have a community that's present for them to support them, both in our faculty and staff, but also in each other who've had similar lived experiences. So just a space that is judgment-free, kind of like what you saw that our Cañada College students shared in the beginning video, a judgment-free space, a space where people are understanding and are open to accepting them for their experience and then creating spaces of healing for them. So this year, we did a variety of different events, reclaiming our humanity film screening. We had Robert Alexander, who came and showed a film for us that took us through the journey of 6 men, how they navigated from the carceral system to the educational system. And so we had a discussion on that. We had another wellness and healing event called Meal to Heal. So it was just a time for us to kind of have a reflective moment with each other and just seeing each other through, we did self collages. And what I appreciated for that in particular, that's this one right here. So I don't know. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it right here. There's one particular student that when he first started with us, he initially was saying that, he kind of just started college initially because, he had some things going on with court and he was just trying to kind of see if there was another path. And initially, he wasn't completely sold on the idea of community college. But then at this event, I saw him making the collage. And in the collage, he had a variety of things, a big house and jewelry and things like that. But I saw that he added on the corner a picture of a young man who was graduating. And he said, "That's going to be me." And so I think that's a testament to the work that, we've been doing, that whether or not, we're not trying to overwhelm the students, just letting them know, hey, we're here and in their own time through the community work and through the work that we're doing, healing and just supporting each other, then they start to kind of have that own internal change. So kind of tying that into our Wellness Wednesdays. So we have Wellness Wednesdays where we do something similar. It's just a space for them to be. to heal, to participate, be with each other, engage with each other. And we recently started doing university field trips. So this past Friday, we went to CSU East Bay, and we had some of our students, Project Change students, go there as well. We were able to connect with some of the programs that they know as a certain name on our community college campus, but what does that look like when they transfer? And who are their programs, the programs there that they can receive support from. So some of our numbers, spring 2024, we had 3 students, and then spring 2025, we have 19. And we're expecting, well, we expect that number to grow. You know, now that we have more of a staff, so myself, I'm the program services coordinator, and we have our director who's here and our counselor who's here as well. So we're fully staffed. So we're expecting that to continue growing. We're just continuing to create that space for the students. So like I mentioned, we have the Social Justice Lounge, Shared Space, Project Change Trio, and student groups. Thank you.
So similar to our sister schools, Kenyatta and Skyline, we offer various events at the College of San Mateo. As you can see here, our most recent one was last week. We had an individual, Davo Vega, who spent 22 years inside and now is working on his PhD at the University of San Diego. And so there's a saying where you can't be what you can't see. And so that was a great opportunity for our students to kind of see what they can be. And so that was very exciting. You guys can see the different flyers, but there's 3 things that I want to highlight. I think that it's evident that Project Change footprint is highlighted at the state level and different levels, but Project Change's footprint is also evident in literature. Dr. Tabitha Conaway wrote her dissertation on transitional age youth, and one of her recommendations is Project Change. In addition, Dr. Steve Betelo wrote his dissertation on Pacific Islander youth in San Mateo County, but also highlighting CSM Project Change. And most recently, the Stanford Law and Policy Lab completed their report in Reimagining Gateway. And so the term Reimagining Gateway kind of takes the different barriers. And so one of their recommendations, or the recommendations for their article, is CSM Project Change. Basically, using Project Change and CSM as a middle college kind of design. And so I kind of also wanted to uplift those 3 critical pieces of literature and research that kind of shares the story of Project Change, but also it's important to kind of see where we exist in literature and how we're supporting our footprint in literature as well.
So for Skyline College, their program service coordinator, he couldn't be here today, but wanted to highlight some of their events. Similarly, they're doing really great work supporting their students. They also support faculty and staff professional development by holding workshops and trainings. And then I also just want to highlight that 4 of the students within Hillcrest will be graduating with their associate's degree through Skyline College in the end of the spring during that graduation. So really exciting for the work that's happening at Skyline. Next slide, please. A quick just cursory glance at some of the student demographics. So this is last academic year. You can see the gender and the race ethnicity breakdown of the students that are served, and this is both students in facility as well as outside of facility on the 3 college campuses. Next slide. Some other demographic information, what I think is really interesting is in terms of academic goals, you can see that 82.8% of the students in Project Change, their goal is degree and transfer, which I think is really important to highlight. I think sometimes career technical education is emphasized in facility, but as you can see, the students are really wanting and desiring to earn degree and transfer academic goals to earn those degrees. And transfer to a 4-year college. And similarly, in terms of success and retention, so Project Change students are in blue, and the overall student population for our district is in orange. And you can see that it's pretty comparable. Our Project Change students are keeping up with the general students within our district. And so I think that kind of reinforces that these rigorous academic courses are not only something that they want to do, but something that they're capable of achieving. And so I think Project Change is really shifting this perspective that academic courses with wraparound support, as the other folks have talked about, is what we should expect of this population. So to better illuminate that, I believe we have Maria, who will be introducing our students, and we can hear some voices from them.
Hello, my name is Maria Huning, and I am the Director of the TRIO Student Support Services and Project Change at Kenyatta College. And it's my pleasure to be able to ask two students to come join me. I'm going to invite Tiffany Ku Uyong to join me. She is currently the fellow at the Youth Law Center and an active Project Change student at the College of San Mateo. Thank you. And I'm also going to invite Maria Hernandez, who is a business major and an active Project Change student at Kenyatta College. My God, my college. So it's a little awkward because I'm behind you. I'm going to kind of stand this way. Hi. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to turn the buttons on your, yeah, so that they can hear you when you speak, and you're going to need to move closer. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to ask both of you to answer these questions, you know, as freely as you can, because it's a little bit more of a dialogue. But why did you join Project Change? And I'm going to ask Tiffany to start.
Okay, so I joined Project Change obviously for a change. Being system impacted at a young age made it difficult to restore my life in a positive direction. So I had no idea where to start. I knew I wanted to pursue higher education, but I had no assistance or resources to get that done. Project Change helped me with the transition from incarceration as a youth to community college. This program gave me the opportunity to get assistance by connecting me with a counselor that helped me sign up for classes, explore different majors. They also helped me with food vouchers, transportation, and honestly, anything that they could help me with. They supported me every step of the way with navigating my education and my dreams after incarceration.
For me, I joined Project Change because I'm 47 years old. I have two sons, and I knew about a program like this, but it was all the way in San Francisco. Unfortunately, I was caught up in a little bit of following the wrong crowd. And when I got out of all of that, I knew what I needed to do because I was part of a program for youth in East Palo Alto when I was 11 years old. My brother got murdered, and I was part of a program that San Mateo County funded. And I remembered the only way for me to get back on track is to find somebody like that program. But when I started going to Kenyatta College, there was nothing like that, like Project Changes right now. So I jumped on the elevator. I was at the college, I think, a whole summer trying to figure out, talking to so many different programs, so many different people. I even ended up talking to Maria for TRIO, but I didn't know about Project Change. But when I was in the elevator going to the bus, I would go to the campus because I felt healing. I felt like that's where I needed to be, but I just didn't know what to do. And then there was the lady in the elevator. Her name was Olivia, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And I was telling her, I know about a program for people that come out of jail, but it's all the way in San Francisco." And she's like, "It's weird that you're telling me that because we know about a program that's just starting here in Kenyatta College, but it's not going to start until September. So just stay tuned." And she gave me her card. And then after that, I met Dega. So I was basically one of the first students that was introduced to the program. And ever since then, I feel like it's my obligation to my community, to the county, and to show people that were incarcerated. I was part of Choices also in this county. And I feel like it's my obligation to show that there is a pathway out. And I'm like fired up to do what I gotta do to go all the way. So.
So you both touched a little bit on this, but how has the program provided support in overcoming challenges that you've been facing while pursuing your degree?
So the program extended wraparound support services, provided me with not only physical resources, like I mentioned earlier, but they also provided a lot of mental and emotional support, as well as social and academic support services. So when dealing with system impacted youth, a support system is essential. A majority of these individuals are put in spaces like this because they don't have a support system, essentially. So we want our youth to thrive in all aspects of life. Project Change provides that. And Project Change understands that system impacted youth, they have different needs. They understand that these students need extra support, and they provide that support through different resources and programs that fit their needs.
I think for me, the most important part of what Project Change supports me with is counseling and mentorship. That's actually been life-saving to me. There's just been one thing after the other since 2016 that has been happening in my life in East Palo Alto. And there's been moments where I just kind of want to stop and turn around and just give up. I've actually been trying to graduate community college since 1998. I looked at my transcript and I was like, oh my God, I was telling Miriam when I met her. When I met with her one time, I'm like, Miriam, I was looking at my transcript and it looks like I've been trying to graduate from community college since 1988. And I've even tried to go sign up at Federal College, and I had some classes that I took there. And it all has been business administration, trying to get into business. And then I'm like, that's the dream that I've been having since I was 11 when I first started San Mateo County's youth program to help me with violence and all that, to get out of the violence from East Palo Alto. And I just haven't been able to reach it. So I told her, it's so crucial for me to be able to go into their offices when I'm feeling flooded with things that have been happening personally to me. Because at home, at least in my home, there's no cheerleaders for you to stay in college. It's drop out, go get 3 jobs, and that's what our expectations are. So when I go into the rooms with Dega or Miriam or even Maria, I feel like they're like life-saving to me to kind of get me back on track. And it's like, no, your goal is this. They don't force it on me. They just let me talk. And then I kind of answer my own questions to get back on track and then just, keep going. So for me, that's been crucial. It's life-saving. And I could see even in the faces of the youth in my own town of East Palo Alto, of a lot of girls that have dropped out, even in middle school. And I'm like, dude, like I need to finish this because I feel like I need to give back to my community. But in order for me to do that, I have to do the work. So that's what you guys did for me.
Thank you. Don't make me cry. We have one more question. So how has the program helped you build a sense of community and belonging on campus?
I was able to meet like-minded individuals who face similar challenges, who wanted to change their lives but didn't know where to start. I believe that you meet your people along the way during this journey. Um, for example, we have weekly check-in meetings that give us the chance to express how we're feeling, our needs, like any support we may need. As an underrepresented community, you don't see many system impacted youth beat societal norms and get the chance to pursue higher education. So to sum it up, I would say that you're able to see that you are not alone. We come together, we help each other, we uplift each other, and we empower each other to keep going.
I concur with that. I'm a natural encourager. I think a lot of the times for me, I've been encouraging people out in the streets of East Palo Alto mainly, some in Redwood City because I did go to Carmel High School and I was part of the cheerleading squad. So I did meet a lot of different types of people, even worked here in the county a few years when I was a youth. So being a natural encourager, building community at Cañada College looks like me waiting in the bus and one of our Project Change students coming to me with problems talking about they don't want to go to transfer, or you know what, I don't know, this is getting hard. So like we're having side conversations in the public bus about encouraging each other to continue and to go into the rooms and talk to our counselors, our mentors about what's really going on, where we can't share those things in classes or even in the streets. So that's what building community is to me, even to the point where I went to the field trip this Friday and we were eating, and one of the students that I just met there, she's like, have you thought about changing your major to becoming like a counselor? And I was like, it's crazy because everybody tells me that and I'm still focused on business, but maybe I will be changing my major. I don't know.
Well, thank you both so much. You're such huge inspirations to me, and I'm so grateful that you were able to share your stories with the commission. And next slide, because it's now open for questions, and also our contact information in case you have additional questions about our institutions and how we are navigating these spaces.
And just one last time, I just really want to thank the commission for the invitation to share the information. I'm always humbled to hear from our students, from the folks who are committed to this work every day. And I just want to reinforce the importance of the partnerships here in San Mateo County that really make this happen. We're facing a different environment at the federal level, and it's going to take all of us collaborating, working together, and keeping focused, because we know what is possible. If you provide the pathways to higher education, the students have the capability, they have the desire, and they deserve this opportunity. And we will do everything we can to make sure that it remains here in San Mateo County and spreads to the state. So I just want to thank you all for the partnership.
Thank you.
And happy to take questions.
Thank you. What an incredible presentation. The work you're doing is amazing. We're so grateful to each and every one of you, and it was beautiful to hear the student stories as well. It's just wonderful. Thank you so much. I want to open up to commissioners for questions. Oh, you have your hand up? Oh, go ahead. Okay.
Thank you so much. It's so inspiring to hear about the success of this program. It's just incredible, and what a value to our county and to the whole state. My question is, it looked to me from the information that the cohort of students in the 3 colleges is about 199. Those are, I think, a couple of years ago, but.
Yeah, just in the last academic year, that was what the head count was for the full year.
Okay. Have we captured all the students who could be in the program? Like, are there students who are unaware or disconnected or just not being kind of brought in, though they could benefit from it? And or is there a wait list?
Got it. There's not a wait list. We have plenty of capacity to serve more and more students across the 3 colleges. For the students that are in facility or end up in facility, we know what that population is, and we're connected really well with the Youth Services Center and our work with probation, also with a gateway with the county office. But we're doing more outreach to the community and alternative schools, making those connections so that even if a student isn't in the Youth Services Center, if they have been impacted in any way. And so it's been informative to hear the report outs on the data and the number of youth who have been impacted by the system. And so working with probation and as much information sharing as we can, but also the partnerships at the high schools to make sure that we are just aware of who the students are, who should be connected to this program. Again, with the shared identity of folks who have the similar experience, and be able to identify that, no, this is a place, you have a safe and welcoming place at the community colleges that will provide you all the support. So there is plenty of capacity. And so points of contact at each of the 3 colleges. And so if you know of youth or individuals in any of our organizations or alternative schools that need a contact, have them reach out. We're doing our reach out as well, but more connections is better. And that's what it takes to know who the students are who may be interested in, who may not be as obvious as those that we know are in the Youth Services Center.
And I have one other question, and that is housing ever an issue? Is there an issue for students who would like to be at college but have nowhere to live?
And a reminder from from Maria, it is voluntary to participate in the program. And so what we're also trying to do is make sure that this is seen as the positive outlet for the students, so that you remove the stigma, which is a big barrier sometimes from even approaching the services, to identify as someone who's been system impacted and all that comes with that. And so we want to remove that as much as possible, which is why the importance of having, the student participation and having that outreach, bringing back student assistance and do liaison work. So as much as possible, that this is a college program designed for transfer, and it carries all of that weight that all of our college programs do. Housing, absolutely. It is San Mateo County. And so, as mentioned, we have lots of services in the community college district. And so Spark Point Centers exist on all 3 of our campuses. They provide financial coaching, food pantry access, food insecurity, but also emergency housing services, and then connection to longer term housing through partnerships with like HIP housing. And so if it's emergency housing, we have resources to provide for those, and then we look to connect them to the navigation centers in the county and then facilitate that. We are currently building student housing at College of San Mateo. Groundbreaking is this fall. Won't be open for a couple of years, but that has always been a long-term vision and dream of having student housing available and then being able to make some of that housing available for our most impacted populations. And so student housing is coming on our at College of San Mateo in the works for other 2 when the state funding comes through. But we do have housing referral resources, emergency housing resources, and because that is a tremendous need, as we know, it's a growing need in the county as well.
Thank you so much. I see that Chief Keen has his hand up.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Not so much a question, just want to make a comment and just really reaffirm our commitment to this program and really want to raise up just the success of Projects Change. The young people today, it just makes you so proud to sit and listen to them talk and speak for themselves. They can really speak so much more eloquently and definitively about the impacts of this program, more so than we can. And to hear them talk and talk about how it really has not only changed their personal lives, but it's impacting their community is really the goal I think we've always had for what we thought impact and outreach could be for this. And so I just want to congratulate Project Change as a whole, really raise up our partnership with them and really say that we are really looking forward to what the future holds. I think everything today that was shared was extremely impressive, but I would just say, wait to see what we do next, because I think we have big plans for how we can expand this to help, young people and not only just folks that are kind of looking at this from, the obvious folks that are system involved, but we actually have hopes for having a broader conversation around, getting involved in the preventative space as well. So that kind of early intervention space where I believe that Project Change can have an even greater impact on our communities. And so just want to just once again thank them for the partnership, appreciate the hard work that they're doing, and also just raise up the importance of listening to our young people and really the importance of the messages we heard here today.
Thank you so much, Chief. Questions from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Bocanegra.
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. It was just absolutely awesome to hear all these wonderful stories. I have a few questions. I think one of the first question I'd like to hear is, are the relationship you have with probation and the system impacted youth, do we also have that same relationship with Mr. John Fong that oversees the foster system? And how many foster system impacted youth have graduated from Project Change? And what is the recruiting process for San Mateo County foster youth who have been ostracized or exiled, housed beyond our county lines?
Thank you for that question. I can't answer too many of the details for that that I'm not aware of in terms of the numbers, but so my position is a split position. So I'm a PSC, Program Services Coordinator, PSC, for Project Change, but also for the Next Step program. And the Next Step program is a program that's on every single community college campus, and that services students that are current and former foster youth or wards of the court. We have 2 foster youth programs at Cañada College specifically. So Next Up, and then we have FYSI, which is the Foster Youth Success Initiative. That one, we have our funding for that is a little bit limited. But in terms of the Next Up program, we have continuous funding for that. And a lot of times what ends up happening is that students that I'm working with, they end up in both programs. So because let's say, for example, maybe in their particular situation, they identify as a ward of the court because they were incarcerated as a juvenile, then they would qualify for the Next Step program. And so then they would get Project Change support services along with Next Step support services. And through Next Step, we are able to offer the students an educational grant each semester. And then they also receive the monthly transportation. We're able to provide a little bit more because we do have a little bit more funding there. On-campus food and off-campus food. And then we also offer emergency grants for the students as well. So we see a lot of overlap, or at least I see a lot of overlap within the position. So the students end up kind of being in both. Through Next Up, we do have a partnership with the County Child and Family Services. As a part of the program, the students have to have a foster youth verification letter or a form of verification that they were either in foster youth, they were a foster youth or a ward of the court during a specified time. So for Next Up, the requirement is that they be 26 or under when they first enroll at the beginning of the academic year in which they first enroll in Next Up. So maybe, for example, they enrolled in the spring and they're 27, but they were 26 when they first started the academic school year, then they would qualify. And if they held the status of foster youth or ward of the court when they were 13 or any time after. So that includes like AB 12 students that have that are in extended foster care. So we have a relationship with the county where we're able to receive that information from them. So and we do different partnerships with them as well. So they invite us over to their events. We go to the ILP. They have their village meetings. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with that, but it's a lot of different programs in the county that come together that are working with foster youth, wards of the court, and just kind of come together, say what's happening in our different programs, resource share with each other, and we do referrals to each other as well. So that's one of the ways that we're able to gather that data or gather that information. And then the actual data collection on our campus, we have our research team that's the office on our campus. And so on the CCC Apply, when the student first applies to the community college, there is a question where they indicate whether or not they were a foster youth or ward of the court at the age of 13 or at any point when they turn 13 on. And if they answer yes to that question, then we're able to collect that data. So what our pre-office does for us is that they're able to see, okay, everyone who's self-identified, and then they pass that information on to me, and then I can start to outreach to those students to see if they qualify for either our Next Up or FYSI program. So we're able to kind of track those numbers based on self-identification. Sometimes what does end up happening is maybe the students are unaware and they maybe accidentally, click the box and then they're like, oh no, I'm not. So we kind of go through that process as well of once I'm able to communicate with the students, and then from there get them enrolled in the program. So then we're able to track the data in that way.
Thank you so much. I have just one more question. What could we do as a commission to partner with Project Change, or what could we do as a commission to better promote Project Change in the county?
I really appreciate that question. It's why we wanted to come and do the presentation for you all, just the awareness piece, first of all, but also you're all in different spaces where you can recognize where there's a need for the connection. It's really reinforcing the collaboration and the partnerships that should exist. And we are a community-funded community college district. Our connection to the community needs to be deeper than others in the state, even just because of that close connection. And so it's awareness building, it's reinforcing, and from my perspective, it's helping others understand that how students are viewed who've been juvenile justice system impacted needs to be optimistic. It needs to be full of opportunity and needs to recognize that they deserve all the opportunities that all of us enjoyed who didn't have those experiences possibly. And so always challenging the perspective that, oh, those students only deserve this because they've been impacted by the system. And I know that's the work that the commission wants to support, but it's making sure that that's seen, and the awareness that, and we have that program and we've demonstrated that over and over and over, is these students belong in higher education so that they too can have the opportunities that everyone else enjoys by virtue of being in higher education. And so just that reinforcement piece, always happy to also have conversations. Commissioner Blanco and I got to have conversations earlier, always open to those, as well as where can we have additional partnerships and idea sharing. Absolutely. So those are the ways. And then we've got some statewide advocacy. Don't know what spaces you find yourself in. There's $30 million that's in the governor's proposed budget to support the expansion of the Rising Scholars Network. We're doing advocacy that should also be directed towards the juvenile justice program through that network. But it's those types of things at a larger level, at the state level. If there's room for advocacy, there's money that's been proposed, and we will need the support to make sure that comes out through the system to support these students.
So I just wanted to add something about that. So I facilitate a statewide meeting for juvenile justice commissioners throughout the state of California. So whatever you have for us, we're happy to take it. I'll bring it to everyone in the state and hopefully get some results for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Through the chair, I would
Yes.
just appreciate offering them time to present before
Yes.
the statewide coalition.
Yes. Oh, yes, Commissioner Ali. Yes.
Okay, yes, thank you. I was very inspired by the youth and you know, the folks that are supporting the youth. This is why we got into this work, and it's refreshing to hear the resilience of our youth and what they do, but also that they understand that, you know, they're going to inspire the youth that are coming behind them. And I heard a lot about giving back and really just taking care of the community. So that was great. Also, I'm not in person today because I'm actually in Washington, D.C., advocating for public education right now. And one of my colleagues out here, she's also a board member, and we're organizing our talking points for tomorrow because we're meeting with some of the Senate folks and Congress people. So uh, this colleague of mine is also a juvenile justice commissioner for Santa Clara County. So I was talking to her about your statewide meetings, and she hadn't gotten any information about that. But anyway, my point is, whatever information I can get tonight before tomorrow would be great to advocate about. I mean, for these rising scholars on a national and state level.
To the
Thank
chair,
you.
I have a question
Yes.
for Shaquille.
Yes.
Shaquille, are you speaking? Are you referencing Shali?
Yes.
Tell her I
Yes,
said hi.
Okay.
So we'll get her information from either one of you and put her on the distribution list. But Santa Clara County is on our distribution list, and several commissioners do attend.
Yeah.
So, we'll make sure to loop her in. Thank you so much, and thank you for being out in Washington, D.C. and doing this work. Appreciate it. Any
Yes.
other? Yes.
Thank you so much for the presentation. It was really great to see the work you're doing. I know like when we played the video, I could see like everyone in the rooms like faces just like light up, and especially the people involved. It was like really great to see how like passionate you were. It's really beautiful. My question specifically relates to the coursework available in the um, youth center. I know we had the list and you mentioned that there were more being planned. I just wanted to ask specifically about how the courses are chosen. Is it based on juveniles' interests, where they're planning to go maybe? Because I noticed like based on, you know, STEM specifically, I know there was one math course, but I know it depends on the college's like ability to provide those services. But I was wondering like just how you like work out those logistics.
Few different approaches. One really specifically in the Rising Scholars Juvenile Justice Program grants that went out to the system. It specifies general education as a focus, so making sure that we're providing courses that meet degree and transfer requirements. From there, there's conversations both with the youth in the facility about interest, and so designing different experiences, and also, you know, you know, it's a whole selection process. Faculty who are truly committed to this work, that's who we want to make sure we're engaging with the students as well. And then making sure that all of this is leading into, you know, as broad a pathway as they can, so they're not being, that students aren't in a narrow pathway to start. Introducing the career exploration class as one, so career counseling, career exploration, try to get an idea of what they would like to see once they get to the campus. But it's really, it's like, what is that introduction that's going to really engage students? Having ethnic studies was a big focus of that because we know that's a very engaging topic and really get the students interested in it. But also offered statistics for the first time because, I mean, required transfer for every single pathway, but also there's a belief and a commitment on the part of the faculty that these students can handle Math 200, and they can. And so from, you know, making sure it's that golden 4 that's specified, but then what are other the general education, and then also career exploration and keys to success, those counseling classes to really get with the students. And then from there, we're building more and more. So, you know, like Dr. West said, we've got next 2 years generally mapped out, but we have the ability to adjust from there, but it's taking both of those into account, what's really transferring, and then student interest as well.
Thank you so much. Any other questions from the commissioner?
I have quite a few. I've just been taking notes. If we can go back to 2 of the slides, please. The one that MJ was referencing with their mission, and was it the mission and vision, the statement? If possible, please. that one. So a little later, I will be reporting on my activities as a commissioner, and one of them is I emailed all the commissioners to see if they were available to watch the video from OICR that was on the 15th, and the title of that webinar was La Cultura Cura. Translation means that culture heals. And everything that MJ just spoke, that video, that's what that video was all about. I mean, that webinar. They had just stressing the power of our community, the power of our ancestors, those that came before us. They spoke about our indigenous peoples. They spoke about the power of the healing that's within our cultures and within our communities. And so I just love that this is part of Project Change, the mission and the vision. And so I just want to say thank you because can't stress that enough. We need to know where we come from before we can move forward, right? The other one was about the classes that are being offered. If we can go to that one, please, we can forward to that one. That one. At first, when I saw that Boca Floca, I thought it was Boca Floja. And I was like, okay. Yeah, you all know what that means. Loose mouth. So, so with Ethnic Studies 265, that is just focused on hip hop culture. But I'm a huge proponent and advocate of making sure that our high school students have ethnic studies. I actually I had the honor and the pleasure to actually meet former Assembly Member Jose Medina from Riverside, who authored AB 101. And so I've been asking our County Office of Ed to ensure that we implement that since September. And I have yet to hear that we're going to implement ethnic studies to our students in the center. So I'm wondering, is there a possibility that that can be provided, and hopefully by the fall? That's a question. Or is it just these classes?
Yes, so our fall schedule is set in the facility. Part of it depends on the availability of folks to teach it, but it is our intention to have ethnic studies as a regular and the general ethnic studies as well as a regular dual enrollment opportunity in the facility. And right now, and as many folks, we just started ethnic studies department. I mean, CSM's had a long-standing, but we've been expanding our ethnic studies departments to be able to meet that need. It is our intention to be able to offer regular ethnic studies programming in the youth services center. Absolutely.
Right, because I just think that because our youth of culture don't see themselves in our curriculums, that's a problem. So the fact that we're working towards to ensuring that they have that in high school, can't stress it enough. So thank you. My other questions are the advisory council that was mentioned that meets monthly. I'd like to ask if we may have a seat at that table, if we don't have one already.
So our advisory council is specifically for the advisory of Project Change, and it's our external partners. So right now Chief Keen sits on that with us, and the County Office of Education sits on there with us. And then it's our college partners and gateway partners up there. So we'd be happy to come and share information with it. We keep it at the operational level for that piece.
Okay. My policy never hurts to ask. And there was another slide of the schools that the program is at, but I only saw the continuation or the alternative high schools, Thornton, Baden, and Peninsula. But I'm wondering, are you also at the other high schools that may need it?
Our relationship with community schools was specifically called out through our funding through the California Community College District. So not through the chancellor's office. So they particularly wanted us to build relationships with facility and also community and continuing ed. So that's why those were listed. But we can also identify system impacted youth that can participate. So we're not limited. We can serve them in the
Okay.
county if we know where they are and if they are identified to us. Or
Okay.
they identify with us.
Okay, and I think that's why when I had asked the chief to see if we may also have that information on what school districts they're at, right? The reason I'm asking is because I'm a huge also proponent of um, prevention. So, for example, you all may know about the Hermanas program that started at Skyline College years ago with Dr. Luis Escobar. He was the first coordinator for Hermanos and it was a partnership with South San Francisco. But by the time I kept advocating to bring it to Cappuccino, that's high school in San Bruno. But by the time that they attempted to bring it to Cappuccino, the students that were targeted were already at Peninsula at the alternative school. So I think if we're able to get them before they attend those campuses.
We're in full
would be-
support of prevention.
And so, thank you. That was one of the other question I had. So I had a meeting with Miss Maria Huning to get a little bit more knowledge and information about Project Change. And one thing, well, we talked about several things, but I was asking about transportation. She did share about the access to bus passes and all that. But it was shared with me that it takes about an hour for our students from the station, Sequoia Station, correct, to the school when it should just be one shot up the hill. So I'm just wondering if it might be possible to partner with Samtrans to see if they may be able to create a line up the hill.
Yeah, we totally agree, and we have great partnerships with Samtrans. We do with their Way to Go program. We were able to distribute a few hundred Clipper cards just last week with their support. But it is one of those things, and you know, talk about an advocacy piece all across the county is more direct routes up to higher education. It's also a movement of the district to bring the education off the hill to folks. We partner with Job Train in the Menlo Park Center. Other partnerships on the coast side now, Coast Side Center for folks who know down in Half Moon Bay, recognizing that east to west transit is not the most efficient sometimes, but with their micro transit options, everything we can do to partner and advocate for those types of dedicated routes, and they've been good partners, but we continue to try to explore what more can we do to make that a much more efficient route. So we're right there with you, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. So I just want to point out that we're now 18 minutes over time. And so would it be okay if we submitted, I know I have several questions, would it be okay if we submitted those and then we can open it up for public comment on this item? Would that be okay if we sent
Absolutely.
some questions to you?
To the chair, I just have one more question.
Okay.
So regarding the professors, which campuses do they come from? Is it just CSM? Because I know CSM is just right on the other side, but do they also come from Skyline?
They do, and we're fortunate. All three campuses have folks who teach, and we've got folks from Kenyatta scheduled for the fall. But yeah, all three campuses have faculty members who join in and teach depending on what the course is. Yep.
Thank you so much. We'll call for public comment on this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the public, if you wish to comment on item 4, please raise your hand in Zoom or from this room. Okay, no hands are raised. Back to you.
All right, we just want to say thank you so much. One more round of applause. Thank you so much. We're super grateful.
Thank you so
Would it
much.
be possible to get a copy of the presentation? Okay, thank you so much. And I'm going to be looking for a motion to move item 1C, item 5, item 6, and item 7 to the May meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you so much. And then the last thing then on the agenda would be,
Motion to approve, if we can.
oh yes, go ahead.
So the motion is to, as mentioned, move items 1C, 5, 6, and 7. I'll take the roll call. Commissioner Huber-Levy?
Yes.
Commissioner Javro?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco?
I apologize, I didn't hear.
Oh, the motion is to move items 1C, 5, 6, and 7 to the next meeting.
Oh, the remaining
Yes.
items?
Correct.
Oh, to
Except-
table it?
Except
next
8,
month.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And the reason I just want to point out, we did receive an email from Judge Adizadi during the meeting, and there was a communication issue where I didn't receive word that she wouldn't be here tonight, so I apologize. Your swearing in will be next month. I really apologize. I didn't get any word about it, and this hasn't happened before. So we'll do that next month.
That's a yay, right?
Yes.
Yes, I have one comment before we adjourn, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah. So that's a yay. And then Commissioner Bocanegra. Thank you, Commissioner Mangtani. Commissioner Ali.
Yes.
Thank you, and Commissioner Rasmussen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you so much. So now we're at announcements, and I just wanted to quickly point out that the Lost Childhood Art Exhibit is still happening at the Redwood City Library. That's going to be going on through May 20th, and it comes like 2 times a week, and it's art that's done by our foster youth. And I apologize for that crackling sound. I don't know where that's coming from. And I also have an announcement that the San Mateo County and the San Mateo County History Museum are cordially inviting the community to attend the 169th anniversary of the San Mateo County and the dedication of the unveiling ceremony for 500 County Center. So this is happening on May 15th. So it's right around the corner. It's 5 o'clock, and it will go on. They've got a live DJ, and there's free parking at the event park at the jury parking garage. So thank you for this information. It's called Celebrating Our Story. Hope to see you there. And then I also wanted to mention that tonight is the last meeting of Commissioner Rushi Mangtani. And so I wanted to recognize her for her work and all that she's done for us since she's been on the commission. A little something. But you have been instrumental in so many things, from educational outcomes to helping with clothing for the kids when they don't have socks and t-shirts and underwear, and you sent cases of them to my house, and we were able to distribute them probably to over 100 kids so far. Okay, yeah, I mean, you've just done so much, and she's leaving us because she was accepted into Columbia. So what a huge accomplishment. So on behalf of all of us, just a little something. Thank you. And please, anyone who'd like to make a comment about Commissioner Mangtani's work, please go ahead.
I have to make a comment because I've really enjoyed meeting you and working with you and being inspired by your passion and your amazing capabilities. And we really appreciate all of the energy and focus and engagement that you brought to your work in the commission. And I know that you're going to go on to great things, so please keep in touch and make sure that you just let us know about all the things you're doing and your successes and your interesting projects that you're doing. All the best.
Yes. So Zoom can hear, just so Zoom can hear.
Thank you so much. Rushi said, "How can I help?" And I said, "Well, you could read these 300 pages of documents and summarize it." And it's not that other people don't ask how they can help, but it was like, well, let's see if she does. And what you produced was just so extraordinary, so great, so useful, and really, I think, like, helped push on educational issues. So I'm very grateful for that.
I'd just like to say thank you for your dedication, your hard work, your commitment, and let us know when you get back so you can join us again.
Okay, I'll go next. So I know I've only known you for a year, as this is my anniversary month. I've been here a year, but I love working with youth, and I just love the fact how involved you were here with this work and your engagement. And I echo what Karen said, but I'm really also interested to hear what your involvement is going to look like on your college campus. So please let us know. I can't wait to hear what you'll be doing over at, you know, at the college, your university. Thank you so much for your service.
I just want to say, I think from even the moment that I saw your application, I've just always been so impressed by you. I was blown away, and when I saw your application, I was like, "There's no way that this is a high school student. Like, there's no way." Just the way that you wrote, just your experience, everything. It was just so impressive. I know that you're going to do amazing things. I'm just looking forward to seeing what you're going to do. We're going to see your name.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much. So with that, it's 7:40. Go ahead.
So, so with the letter of support, I watched the Senate Judiciary Committee today, and SB 48 did move on to appropriations.
Oh, good.
Yes.
That's
So
wonderful.
thank you for everyone's support moving forward. And the Board of Supervisors, I think, sent someone and they spoke, and the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors also supported it, and so did Alameda County. So just love that the Bay Area was there up in that room representing. And the suggestion that I'd like to make is on the agenda, so that we have the space, the time to share about what our activities are. So I'm wondering if we can add another item along the line saying commissioner activities or something like that.
Yeah, we have.
So
We fluctuate between announcements and items of commissioner interest. And when I send the email out, if I don't receive anything back,
Right.
then I don't put on the agenda the items of commissioner interest. But that would be where it would go.
Well, so for me, for example, like I had a list of report a lot of things, and so there's things that happen after even when you call. Like for example, I had the hero event to go to, so I wouldn't have been able. So I think if we just, for me, if we can just leave it, simple, just commissioner activities, and then we can just report out instead of having it listed. So that's my recommendation.
As long as that's allowed by the Plan Act, we're okay with it. Is that allowed?
I think that's up to the chair. Yes, I think so.
Okay, then that's fine. That's
Okay,
fine.
all right, thank you.
Also, Jennifer, if there's some things you want to share with the commissioners through the month, I think you're free to, provide an email update too, if it's something that you
Right.
bring to our
No, I can do
attention.
that too, but I think it's also good to be
Yeah.
transparent and open to report it out as
Absolutely,
well.
yeah.
So, yes.
So I apologize that our meeting went late tonight. I thought it was an excellent presentation and well worth our time, but it is my daughter's birthday and she's waiting for me to get home. So thank you so much. It's
Happy birthday, Emma.
Adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. The time is now 7:42 p.m. and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.